Welcome to the Yesterday Show with Etzel Abanto, where we interview important leaders of the past. And here's your host, Etzel Abanto.
In this episode, we have one of the greatest philosophers, a great statesman and a general, and one of the greatest leaders of Athens. Here he is, Pericles. Please, sit down.
Thank you. How art thou, host?
Oh, very good. Thank you. So, Pericles, tell us a little about yourself.
I was born into a rich family in 495 BC, and was the son of Xanthippus and Agris. My father was a military commander. I started my political career in my late 20s. Interesting story, actually, was that I took on a powerful council of leaders that were called the Areopagus. My allies and I stripped the men of their power. After this, I became more popular for my political career. This is how I started to become a great leader.
Interesting. Are you okay with being asked some questions for us to help people understand your life?
I would love to answer your questions. Ask away.
We will be right back after a commercial break. We're back. So shall we start on the questions and answers?
Indeed we shall.
Well, my first question is, how did you become leader, and what did you do after you became leader?
Well, it all started when I was 17. I inherited a large fortune. With the currency I had just inherited, I decided to use the money to fund others' artistic endeavors. When I was in the early 20s, I established myself to become the dedicated patron of arts through my sponsorship of the Festival of Dionysus. After this, I joined politics in 470 BC. My allies and I took on Areopagus. Later on, I would start democracy and be named ruler of Athens until death. When I became leader and a general, I decided to get money to rebuild the old monuments, such as the Acropolis. I would continue on army missions and my political career.
Do you think it's important for a ruler to build monuments?
Yes, indeed. I had used the money that my allies and I had saved in the Peloponnesian War to fund the rebuilding of monuments. I built the 3 monuments, Parthenon, Athena, Nike, and Acropolis, for generations to see my glory and for what I had done for Athens. It shows that a great leader should show great pride for what he has done.
Do you think democracy is a good form of government? And why do you think this form of government is so successful?
Indeed, we the government may have power, but if someone has more power than everyone, he may abuse that power. That is why democracy can get every citizen choose what they want or not want. It is very successful because everyone wants equality.
We are back. Let us continue.
Do you agree women should be involved in the government?
My skills were taught by a woman, but in that time, saying that you were taught by a woman was an insult. So in my case, having women in the government should not be allowed because they can't handle anything that includes physical strength.
Interesting. But not very nice of a great leader to hate women.
I did not say I hated women. I said they just can't handle physical work.
Okay, moving on.
What would you consider some of your accomplishments, and on the other hand, your failures?
There are so many great accomplishments I have done. It's just really hard to choose which ones are the best. Let's see. Being a great leader of Athens, that's one. Building the Parthenon, Athena, Nike, and Acropolis, amazing structures. And probably leading the military during the Peloponnesian War.
Well, what about your failures?
Are you horsing around with me or what? I've never had a single failure.
What about the time you divorced your wife? Or the time you failed to protect Athens?
I had 1 to 2 mistakes. I was sorry for Athens when I wasn't there to help them get through the epidemic disease. But leaving my wife wasn't a mistake. I let her go to a new man. I didn't care.
What kind of qualities do you think should a great leader have?
Well, the qualities that a great leader should have is loyalty, responsibility, courage, loving, and knowledge. As I say, he who is loyal to his country. He who is responsible has many responsibilities. He who has courage will fight until he is dead, just for his nation, and he who is loving loves his people. And as I have said, having knowledge but lacking the power to express it is not better than never having ideas at all.
Very impressive. Probably the best answer a leader has ever said. to have you here today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Well, that is it for today, folks. Now you can tell your friends what you had learned about Pericles. We will see you next time on Yesterday's Show with Ed Levanto.